subscribe to this channel and also turn on your notification bell in order to get our latest updates.
So then, who killed Field Marshal? I guess you all want to know. The people who killed Field Marshal were hired assassins. And yes, they all hail from the BLM.
Chris Anu, the communications secretary for the Ambazonian interim government, and the younger brother to Field Marshal the King of Ambazonia, confirms the death of his brother and narrates how it all happened. Please stay tuned and listen to what Chris Anu has to say.
Him was gone down on the evening of Tuesday, July 12 at around between 5 and 6 p.m. Amber time. But let me make this very clear. FMA wasn't killed by La République du Cameroon occupying soldiers in Le BLM. Though they hunted him for years, he refused to fall under the barrel of their bayonets. To FMA, La République du Cameroons are mere Boy Scouts and cowards, lacking the skills, the courage, and the mastery of warfare, capable of taking him down. FMA was not killed by ADF fighters either. Some conspirators in the social media have painted that narrative, maybe just to further set divisions among us. None should fall for that. The ADF had no role in the murder of Field Marshal of Ambazonia. Field Marshal's fighters, the Red Dragons, have no accomplices or hands whatsoever in the plot that cut down the life of Field Marshal of Ambazonia. We can authoritatively say that they are all innocent. They have been taken aback just as everyone else. The people of the BLM didn't kill their Field Marshal either, contrary to the social media. In situations like this, we must be careful to separate patriots from villains. The overwhelming population of the BLM, both in the diaspora and at home, stood with Field Marshal of Ambazonia, morally, materially, and financially throughout the time that God's grace abound upon him to fight. To suggest that the BLM people killed him is an overstatement and tantamount to painting all with a broad brush. So then, who killed Field Marshal? I guess you all want to know. The people who killed Field Marshal were hired assassins. And yes, they all hail from the BLM. But like Judas Iscariot, they choose money over honor. Like Judas, they were paid from both home and abroad to carry out the deed. Let me state very authoritatively, ladies and gentlemen, that at this moment, as I come to you, we are not only informed of exactly how it all went down, we now know every single collaborator, but particularly to the individual actors who carried out the execution. We know all of their names, their pictures in the bush, where they come from, who sent them, and who paid them. Let me assure all of you, they will have nowhere to hide in Ambazonia and in La République du Cameroon. I'm not going to name them here on television, but trust that they will be named as we lay hands on them one after another. Villagers first spotted them the previous evening, being Monday, July the 11th, as they made inroads into cocoa farms in the vicinity. But the villagers took them for Amber Restoration Forces or the Red Dragons because, according to the villagers, They were all dressed up looking like amber boys, as they call the restoration forces. They were all tatteredly dressed and having the appearance of the ARF. Even so, there was an element of strangeness in their appearance. They looked suspicious. The villagers raised an alarm to some fighters who made frantic searches but didn't find them. The following morning, being Tuesday, the day of the execution, July 12th, at around 9 a.m., they emerged from their hideout, picked up two former fighters, Dragons fighters. One had long laid down arms since 2018, and the other had left the camp only 2 months. The assassins were four of them in number at this point. And all the four have at one time or another been fighters of the Red Dragons. But they had all left the struggle for a period ranging from 1.5 years to 4 years to become blacklegs, joining ranks with La République du Cameroun bees for all these years. After picking up the two escorts and having them severely tortured, their hands tied behind their backs, a piece of cloth wrapped in the mouth of the other, they hurled him behind the building and demanded that he must lead them to FMA's location. I will spare you all of the details here. As they took off for Field Marshal's location, the four assassins were now joined at this time by 4 others, disguised equally as amber boys with face masks. These ones were La République du Cameroun soldiers, 4 of them. The entire team was now 10 in number, that is, including the 2 escorts. We gathered that somewhere close to Field Marshal's location, all the 4 La République du Cameroun masked soldiers decided to stay back. They wouldn't go up to FMA's location. The 4 former ambers proceeded, avoiding all the traps and camps in the area and surprising FMA from the direction he least expected. They gunned him down from a distance like a sniper. He slumped backward and fell on his back. After observing he wasn't going to wake up, it was then they now walked to the scene and smashed his face. After the mission was accomplished, the assassins radioed the 4 LRC La République soldiers waiting down the forest. Jubilation started. The rest of the dragons, hearing the sound of the first gunshot, began mobilizing from their nearby bases to that location. The first person to show up was ambushed and killed, slaughtered. The rest found a way of escape. Immediately, the La République du Cameroun army, hiding in the forest, alerted their bosses. The assassins too began to call their friends and collaborators around La République, their fellow blacklegs and enablers, to report their exploits. And the enablers immediately took it to the social media, putting out this story. Unfortunately for the assassins, their collaborators, the same collaborators, would not hide their identities. By Wednesday morning, the 13th of July, over 400 occupying soldiers of La République had descended on the outskirts of the vicinity. FMA had been located. They had mobilized in the hundreds to secure safe landing for the helicopter that will transport the remains of Field Marshal to Kumba. Upon landing in Kumba, they took the body to the military barracks before driving it in a parade for public view at what is called the Sek Junction. And that was FMA's last journey, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed very difficult for me to narrate this story